What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM pregame live streaming here exclusively on DSM Media's YouTube channel. Guys, first and foremost, if you are new here at the channel, make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And while you're over on the page, make sure to check out the link tree. It is in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive through any of our shows here at DSM, the best place to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up on the screen, and also the home here for all of your DSM pregame lives for Phillies, Sixers, and Eagles throughout their seasons is to subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on notifications, and like I said, is the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up. I am one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. You can find him on Twitter as well at Scotty Drown. My man, happy Thursday. Sixers Nets game 3 as 76ers travel up north, slightly up 95 to Brooklyn. How are you feeling heading into this matchup?
I'm feeling good, man. Happy Thursday. Happy 420 to all of you out there. And
take two here on the pregame show as well.
Yeah, exactly, man. But I'm feeling a little disrespected as a Sixers fan by these these lines that I'm seeing in the sports books today. All these Sixers props. They're kind of low, in my opinion, and it's rubbing me the wrong way. It's making me feel like I'm insane as far as what I've been watching so far. But nonetheless, we're going to dig into that, man. So I'm excited to do that.
I like it, man. I mean, we already took advantage of one of the lines, and we're going to get to that during our best bets segment of the show. But yeah, I mean, either something is incredibly wrong and they are over adjusting and over analyzing what took place in game 2 the other night, or we have no idea how to read a line. We're just not great at sports betting. Who knows, really? But guys, like I said, this is going to be your game 3 preview for the Sixers Nets round 1 matchup. Sixers have a commanding 2-0 series lead. And Scotty, when I come into this one, before we get into keys, matchups, adjustments, everything like that, I have to say to you, we spoke on it with Austin Crow. We spoke on it on the Faithful Fanatic show yesterday morning. This series is a wrap. And now whether the Sixers want to gift wrap one and hand one to the Brooklyn Nets, and this is a gentleman's sweep, I don't see it. I guess it's a possibility, but before the series started, I had predicted a sweep. And now I think the first 2 games have only furthered that prediction for me. And I don't see any way Brooklyn finds a way to win one, let alone tonight. So heading into tonight's matchup, looking from it from, I guess, Brooklyn's perspective, but also from a Sixers perspective on if you're the Sixers, what you're envisioning, what you're predicting the Brooklyn Nets are going to try to do tonight on the defensive side of the floor. What do you think Brooklyn tries to do specifically against Joel Embiid in game 3? Do they continue to throw the kitchen sink at him and double and trap and throw different 2-man and 3-man looks at him? Or do they say this hasn't worked and we just need to, I don't know, maybe allow him to go to work and beat them with threes beat 2s? What does Brooklyn and Jacques Vaughn look to do tonight?
It's tough. I think they're going to come out with a similar offensive game plan, which is just going to be to try to get out in transition, right? Get easy buckets, and get threes up. That's good. That's been the whole thing with Jacques Vaughn from the start of this series, right? You've heard him reiterate it to his team: get threes up. We have to get threes up. They know what they're going against. They know they're the lesser team in this situation, right? In order to beat a team that's better than you, you have to play out of your element. You have to get up more shots from the 3-point line in hopes that you can get hot from there. So I think that remains the same. I think that stays consistent. It's the way they guard Joel Embiid that's interesting to me, and to see how they're going to approach this, because obviously you're switching scenes now. You're in Brooklyn. You're in the home crowd. So do you feel more appropriated to maybe guard Embiid one-on-one and say, hey, you can go ahead and drop 50 tonight if you can do that here in Brooklyn? And we'll take our chances going 3s against 2s tonight, right? We're going to get up a lot of shots, a lot of 3-pointers. We'll let Embiid do whatever he wants tonight, similar to the way Boston played him last time. Or do they stick with what they're doing after game 2, where it kind of played out in their favor, right? The Sixers didn't shoot that well from the 3-point line. I think they shot 31% from the 3-point line. They didn't kill you in that sense. You had James Harden with an 8-point outing. Tobias had 20 and 12. So when you look at it from that perspective, you held the Sixers to 96 points. So you held them under 100 points in this game. They shot the ball terribly. And it ultimately did take Embiid, at the end of the game, a little bit of Maxey mixed in there to ultimately win that game for the Sixers. You look at it from that standpoint, can Maxey drop 33 points again on us, right? Can he go 6 for 13 from the three-point line again? Can Tobias Harris drop 20 points on us again, right? Can he eclipse that 20-point mark for the third game in a row in this series? These are questions they have to ask themselves. And from there, I think that's where the decision lies, right? You could ultimately do a little bit of both. Maybe you're doubling Embiid sometimes, and then other times you're giving them single coverage if Claxton's in. So they can do some different things, but I think we saw from game 1 and game 2 the completely polar opposites of the way the game was played and how it played out. Game 1, you have the Sixers on fire, right, from the three-point line. They blow them out of the water early. This game, the Nets kind of controlled it at first, at least for the first half. Then the Sixers turn it up a notch in the second half and end up getting the lead and running away with this one. So they've seen two different sides of the Sixers, yet they're getting the same result when it comes to margin of victory for the Sixers. So while I say they can try all those different things, I don't know that they will, in the end, matter.
That's the biggest thing. That is the biggest takeaway.
That's the biggest thing.
Not just from me as a Sixers fan. It has to be the biggest takeaway for everybody. When you look at the disparity in which the Sixers team played the first two games and what worked and what didn't work, one thing was consistent. And now Austin Crowell brought up a great point. They did adjust the way they attacked and doubled Joel when he got the ball. They sent over an extra body or two a little bit later. So it took a little bit different of a little bit longer of a time to diagnose those double teams. They turned the ball over early. But to see you do the same thing, to see you try to eliminate Joel Embiid from the Sixers game plan.
Yeah.
And in game 1, have all the others step up. They shoot a franchise record from 3. They blow you out of the water that time.
Yeah.
To go to game 2, where he only scores 20. They don't shoot well from 3. And you still couldn't even cover a double-digit point spread.
Yeah.
To me, if you're Brooklyn, you have to ask those questions. Okay, can Tyrese Maxey do this to us again? Can Tobias Harris do this again? But you also have to beg the question is James Harden going to score 8 points against us again?
Yeah.
Is Joel going to score 20 no matter what we do to him? Yeah. So to me, if I'm Jacques Vaughn, if I'm Brooklyn, I agree with you. They have to, and they're going to throw multiple different looks at Joel in the Sixers offense. It's a part of adjustments. It's a part of basketball. It's a part of scheme. However, I am going more with the latter, and as bad as you're going to feel for Royce O'Neal or Nick Claxton, I'm putting them on an island. And I'm basically saying, he's going to miss some shots regardless because he's not going to shoot 100% from the floor.
Yeah.
He gets his twos, and we are running, and gunning. All 5 bodies are crashing the offensive glass. And it's just an ultimate hustle fest and try to outshoot them from 3. Now, when I take that and I look at it from a Sixers perspective, it comes back into play where you need to have the little things. You need to have the energy heading into this one. You're up 2-0. The series is not over. The job is not done. You know that they're an inferior team. But I'll tell you what you cannot do on the road now is start the first half and the first quarter of this game the way you did game 2.
Yeah.
James Harden, Joel Embiid, everybody have to shoot better from the three-point line. Okay? They made 11 threes. Tyrese Maxey had 6 of them. They shot just over 30% as a team. They turned the ball over probably close to 20 times. Cannot happen. Yeah. It is the little things the Sixers need to do tonight, and the other things will come. I do not suspect the Sixers to shoot 31% from 3 again. I think that goes up. I do not expect Joel Embiid to get limited to 20 points. I think, does he get 30? I don't know with the way they're covering him. Yeah. But does he probably get 25 plus? Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah. I do not expect James Harden to score 8 points and have more than that number in turnovers.
Yeah.
So if the Sixers protect the basketball, if the Sixers protect the glass, there is nothing the Brooklyn Nets can do defensively, offensively, in transition, baiting them into whatever the case is. The Sixers will not lose this game.
They ultimately messed up in game 2. That's where Brooklyn really messed up because that was their chance, right? Like their defense was on point in that game. They were able to hold the Sixers under 100 points. a lot of it was the Sixers missing shots, which that's what it's going to take for the Brooklyn Nets to win a game. The Sixers are going to have to be cold as ice from the three-point line. They're going to have to shoot just over 30% from the three-point line in order for the Nets to even have a chance in the game. And they still couldn't take advantage of that in game 2. And that's what really just throws me off with this Brooklyn Nets team. Now, what I will say, they're returning back to Brooklyn. We noted that. That's obviously, this is going to be their next best chance. I say game 1, you could get to surprise the Sixers, maybe jump out early and get ahead of them and surprise them in that way. Game 3, you have that same opportunity. Once again, though, I can't see it, right? I can't see a combination of the Sixers playing so bad.
Yep.
Right? Worse than what they played in game 2. But then also the Nets are just on fire, right? The thing is, they're getting up a lot of threes. They only shot 31% from the three-point line. They only made 13 threes. That's not going to work. You talk about Jacques Vaughn after game 1 complaining about the refs and how Embiid is
they got the calls in game 2.
You got the calls in game 2. You shot more free throws than the Philadelphia 76ers, who have James Harden and Joel Embiid, guys that get to the line religiously. So, like, everything played out in your favor. You talked about the turnovers earlier. The Sixers had 19 turnovers to the Brooklyn Nets 9. They turned the ball over 10 more times than the Brooklyn Nets, and they still won by 12 points. That's insane in reality.
You know why? Because it all comes down, it boils down to one thing. Talent.
Yeah.
Pure, utter, sheer talent. It is what you and I spoke about last week before game 1, what they lacked. And as Mikal Bridges, a very cool story, and does he have a lot more in his offensive bag than a lot of people, including myself, ever knew about? For sure.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson is more than just a three-point shooter, as we saw the other night.
Yeah.
Here's your problem. Dinwiddie hasn't gotten anything going through 2 games. Who decided to open his mouth and compare this team to having Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks team before, but whatever. Spencer Dinwiddie hasn't done nothing. The bigs haven't done anything. And when you look at the 2 guys who have given them the most, you're getting 1 per game. You're not getting Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges going off and hitting everything from in the same game, and you're only getting 1/2 from each. You got 23 from Mikal in game 1 in the first half. He finished with 30. You had 22 from Cam Johnson in the first half. In game 2, he finished with like 25 or 26.
Yeah.
So
28.
they lack the talent to hang around with the Sixers team. It's the bottom line. It's not being disrespectful. It's calling it what it is. And I will say this to you. When you look at this matchup tonight going on the road, even if the Sixers were to lose this game tonight, which I don't foresee, they're still fine. And even if somehow they haven't already taken the life out of the Brooklyn Nets, tonight is the night to take their throat out.
Yeah.
Like, that's what if you beat Brooklyn tonight, it is over in 4. It is over on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I agree.
Tonight is the night to go out there with your 110% focus and effort and confidence and go take care of business. And then,
Brooklyn.
Yeah, 100%, man. I would throw this to you, right? Yeah. You and I spoke about it last week. Krell reiterated it to us the other night. And it's like funny to think about. But we kind of called it like a first round tune-up. Like the Sixers are able to work on things within a playoff series as they're looking forward to tougher and stiffer competition. If you had to give me one thing, well, either different from last game, different from both games that you want to see moving forward, what in this tune-up type of matchup tonight are you looking for the Sixers to improve upon?
That's actually that's a great question. I would say tonight the main thing for me would be patience and controlling what you can control. And I know we've talked about that throughout the first 2 games even. But the turnovers, that was the obvious issue in game 2. That's why you were held to under 100 points. Just playing clean, right? Getting a clean win, not being sloppy, not coming out with a slow start and ending up down at half, things like that. Just asserting their dominance. Aside from that, obviously, I just want to see Harden I don't know how to phrase this correctly. Because he shot well from the 3-point line in game 1, but still shot bad from the field. Then game 2, it came to fruition that he just didn't shoot well at all. I want to see him have a good, efficient night where he's able to find good shots, right? I don't mind the 3-point step backs. That's his game. That's what he does. He hits a lot of those. I'm going to trust him in those situations. But it's the drives to the rack, right? And the turnovers. I mean, the turnovers can't happen as well. You had 13 turnovers between Embiid and Harden alone, right? That can't happen. But getting better shots, getting to the rack, and finishing, right? If you're going to get to the rack, you're going to go for the layup, you're going to drive hard to the rack. Let's finish at the rim strong. Last year in the playoffs, right? You remember against the Toronto Raptors, he threw it down against the Raptors, bro. Like, he got up and he dunked it against the Raptors.
Let's
And
look to finish through the contact. Let's not just look for the contact.
Yeah. Don't just look for that is beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted to say. You said it perfectly right there. Don't look for the contact, play through the contact. That's exactly what I want from Harden tonight. And I guarantee you, if he does that, Dylan, he's going to get to the free throw line. 100%. That's been the problem so far with Harden throughout the first 2 games of this postseason. He's driving to the lane. He's searching for the contact rather than playing
with
through
the idea of getting the whistle. Yep.
Yeah, so that's
and
good. You asked me that question. Aside from an overall team standpoint,
yeah,
there's other things, you know, maybe something from the bench, maybe D-Melt gets going tonight. Maybe you want to see Embiid look a little bit more like the regular season when it comes to scoring. Maybe that's something you're looking for. But Harden, I think, is the most important thing, just making sure not only that these guys come out healthy into the second round series, but also making sure that they come out comfortable and confident. I think that's the key thing here. I don't want to see Harden hesitation tonight. I want to see him come out, play strong. You're back in Brooklyn. Show that crowd what's up.
I think that's a great point because he is the motor. Like, he is everything to this team. When we spoke about it the other night, it's like, if you get that Harden, if you get floor Harden, you're in trouble going forward. If you get ceiling Harden, you have one of the best chances to win a title this season.
Yeah.
He is the biggest X factor. He is the biggest difference maker on a night-to-night, game-to-game basis for this team. And I see the same thing you're seeing, man. He's searching for the contact. Yeah. He's trying to seek out the contact. And right or wrong, fair or foul, he's not getting the whistle right now. Yeah. The fact that James Harden has not shot a singular free throw through 2 playoff games is ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. Yeah. But that is the world we're in right now. So instead of searching for the contact against a Royce O'Neal or Nick Claxton, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, when he puts his elbows into your chest and he basically just throws it 100 miles an hour off the backboard, it might hit the side of the rim and they're going the other way with it. It might as well be a turnover when he's not getting the calls. Seek out that contact and attempt to finish. What I view that shot at, Scotty, is not even attempting to finish. It's like he's throwing it up and he's immediately looking like this at the referee. That's what I get out of it. Seek the contact. That's great. And continue to finish through said contact. That's what James Harden needs to do. I think it's a perfect point on the who, needs to continue to fine tune himself throughout this series. The what I'm looking for tonight is the same thing they gave me in game 1 and the same thing they gave me in the second half of game 2. And that is to continue to show me you are different. Now, how can you do that? Because Brooklyn, to me, isn't giving you any fight on the floor in terms of a talent. Your energy, your focus, the way you put them out of their misery the last 2 games. Yeah. That, to me, shows you this Sixers team has their eyes on something bigger, something I didn't see in previous years. When they lose game 1, even the Jimmy year, they lost game 1. They didn't take that Nets team seriously. They're taking it seriously. So tonight, up 2-0, you're traveling up 95 on the road. It's not far, right? You don't got no jet lag, right? It's been 2 nights since your last game. This is 3 days now since your last game. You're well rested. Take it seriously, man, and take it seriously from the jump and show me that energy and hustle and focus tonight, because then I'll continue to take you as championship serious.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's exactly what I want to see tonight. And maybe that's a good point to kind of segue into our keys to victory. But just before we get into those keys to victory, just looking at it from Brooklyn, because I know you asked earlier, what can they do different? Maybe it's a personnel change, right? Seth Curry hasn't gotten a ton of minutes for them in the first 2 games. Maybe you get him some more minutes. He's a guy that can actually hit shots. You want to get threes up. Maybe you should put your 3-point shooters in.
By the way, Seth Curry owes somebody about $50,000. I don't know if you saw that or not, but
no. What are you talking about? Get me
a sports bettor on FanDuel. I forget how much he wagered. Literally like $25, $50, whatever it was. Put together a same game parlay for the Sixers Nets in game 2. That was Cam Johnson for 20+, Tyrese Maxey for 30+, and Seth Curry for 10+. And it paid over 50 racks. And Seth Curry finished with 9, and the other 2 legs hit. And he missed a free throw in the fourth quarter.
Oh, that would make me sick.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God, that would make me so sick, man.
50+ racks.
Sick to my stomach, but to be honest, I wouldn't have laid Seth Curry for 10+ points.
No, but I mean, I would never lay Tyrese Maxey for 30 and Cam Johnson for 20 either.
Yeah, so but if you're there,
yeah,
I feel you, man. But that's my point. I would get some actual shooters. You want to hoist up threes and win that way. Get some guys that can actually shoot threes. But I know that what that comes with is a lack on defense. That's the problem. So, nonetheless, either way, they're facing a plethora of issues here. But maybe you give the young guy Cam Thomas. He's a guy that can get hot, right? Score 30, 40 points.
So remember when he took over a 3-game stretch after KD and Kyrie removed?
Then he just disappears. I have no idea, man.
I mean, thank you.
How is Spencer Dinwiddie better than him at this point, right?
I don't know, man.
Mind you, I get it. Dinwiddie has a playoff experience, but still, you got to give him a shot, right? Like, what? He's not even in the rotation at all.
Player for you.
Yeah, that's weird, man. If I was him, I would want out of there, by the way. He's a quality player. He can score the rock.
I'd take him off this bench.
Yeah, absolutely. He can come in and be the 6th man if he wants to. No doubt. But keys to victory tonight, man. What do you got for me?
It's very simple. I think it's the same thing we spoke about game 2, and I think you saw them not do those keys, and that's why they struggled and trailed at halftime. Yeah. It is doing all of the little things well. It is being honed in and being focused. I know I probably sound like a broken record through the first 20 minutes of the show, but that's all there is to me. There is, look, you're already limiting Joel the best you can if you're Brooklyn.
Yeah.
If you're a Sixers fan, this is the first time all year from a points category or standpoint you've seen him, be like, oh, that, this isn't the real Joel.
Yeah.
And it's still not nearly enough.
Yeah.
You've seen the Sixers shoot poorly as a team from 3 already. You've seen them shoot historically great from 3 already. There is nothing this Nets team can do that's going to beat the Sixers. Do you know who can beat the Sixers in this series?
The
Sixers.
Yes, sir.
So, crash the offensive glass, because if I'm Jacques Vaughn, I'm sending all 5 guys at the glass.
Bro, they got out-rebounded.
The Sixers crashed the boards, in general.
They got out-rebounded 56-33 last game.
The Sixers?
No, the Nets. The Nets got out-rebounded 56-33. What? That's what? I'm not doing that math right now. 23? Yeah, I think it's 23.
Yeah. No, like that's embarrassing. Like that's where you're supposed to scratch and crawl and claw.
That's
and
where they have
victory.
To win, right? Yeah, I'm with you.
When PJ Tucker is beating Cam Johnson to lose balls,
you
don't have a shot in hell. So to me, I think exactly what the Sixers need to do is those small things. And protect the basketball.
Yeah.
Because you do that, you're not down 5 at halftime, fellas.
Yeah. I have pretty much exactly the same keys to victory here as far as what you just went through. I have weather the storm, right? Start fast. Just play the whole game like you did in the second half. Brooklyn, they'll try to come out. They'll try to start fast. They'll try to get some threes up, get the crowd into it. Philly just needs to come out strong, weather the storm. The next one for me, defense. Bring the same defensive intensity that you played with in the second half, right? They held them to 35 points in the second half. That's crazy compared to what they were able to do in the first half and ultimately have the lead. So if you can just bring that same defensive intensity for an entire 48 minutes, Imagine what you can do to this Brooklyn Nets team that you held to 84 points last game. And then finally, like you said, control the turnovers, control what you can control. They're the controllables for a reason. But just being patient, I think, is the big thing. You texted me during the first half of that game too, and you were just like, dude, these guys are going 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Just slow down. That's
frustrating
one of the big problems with Embiid, right? You see the 8 turnovers in that game. Just slow down, big fella. It's all right.
Playing point center.
We have the control here, right? We are the ones we are the better team. So just be patient and you take your game to them. You don't let them speed you up. That's my big thing here, and it needs to be that way for 48 minutes. It can't just be in the second half because, like we talked about during the regular season, you have to start building winning tendencies and winning patterns. And guess what? Coming out dead in the first half, that won't work against Boston, right? In the second round. We see what they're doing to Atlanta right now, right? That won't work against Boston. So you need to practice the habit, right, of playing an entire 48 minutes at the highest intensity on both ends of the floor. So to your question earlier, what do the Sixers need to work? That's what they need to do. They just need to work on getting better. It's really simple, right? When you're talking about a team that's this much better than the other team, it comes down to the foundations of basketball and the basics, right? So yeah, control the turnovers, defensive intensity, weather the storm early. Sixers are going to win this game.
I think that last one you just brought up, it was actually your first point, but it's the last one you just said. Weathering the storm is big tonight because you have to expect their best shot. Like they already gave you their best shot. What I mean is their last shot. This is Hail Mary time. I'm trying to knock you out.
Their backs against the wall.
Yeah, like we're in round 7 right now of a 10-round fight, and they're trying to knock you out now because they're not winning at the scorecard, right?
Yeah.
My it would just be interesting to see that, like, okay, can you weather the storm? Obviously, but like, it would be so refreshing for the Sixers to come out and just jab to start this game, and the Sixers start up 9 early on in the first quarter and impose their will there, because it's like giving a desperate team any sense of hope, no matter if it's for a quarter, 2 quarters, whatever it is in this game, is not where you want to be as a favorite, right? And, to your point that you opened the show with, like, okay, it's disrespectful, and we're not comprehending why it's such a slim line, even when they're on the road. But, like, Vegas knows, man. Vegas normally knows.
Yeah.
So maybe this game tonight is a lot closer than the first 2 have been.
Yeah, you never know, man.
And you get into that scenario, where this is a 5-point game with 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left. It's not really where you want to be.
Yeah, I agree, man.
It'll be interesting. And again, it all just comes back to being focused tonight and coming out with energy from the jump.
Yeah. It's always that way for the Sixers, isn't it? Like, isn't it always that way?
And I don't need Doc to call a timeout 55 seconds into the second half to just tell you guys to come on and get your heads out of your asses.
Literally, and I know we talked about this the other day in Austin. He spoke on it very thoroughly, right? And I thought he was 100% correct in it. People making fun of Doc Rivers in that timeout, it's very simple. That's
exactly what I would have said to the bench.
It's exactly what I would have said, right? It's exactly how all of us feel.
Because it has to be damn sure exhausting and frustrating
to see a team come out sleepwalking.
To do that. That's not any that was not Doc in the first half. Okay. Like, I know a lot of Sixers fans like to give the players credit for wins and give Doc the credit for the losses and the blame for the losses. That was the players' effort.
Yeah.
In the first half.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line.
Simply put.
So when you're sitting there screaming at, on the sideline for the first half, and you're losing at halftime, and you probably go in and like Austin said, it's the NBA, man. There's no, this isn't Miracle, the movie, right? There's no
college basketball March Madness where they're playing one shining moment. Like, it's not
this ain't it, man. These are grown ass men that really, some of them probably don't even care what their coaches have to say. So when you're Doc and you have to go in and give whatever kind of talk, adjustments, come back out, and for the first minute you have another turnover and a layup for Brooklyn, what else are you going to say? Just looking them in the eyes and going, "Come the F on,
come on." Yeah.
It's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
Scotty, with that said, let's transition over to our best bets segment of the show before we get into players of the game and our predictions. But I think there's a little teaser within this best bet slip as what our prediction is. So looking at the top of this list here, guys, we were 3-0 in game one. Sadly, we were 1-2 in game two because, well, the Sixers scored 96 points. When you look at the top, we're hoping for a change and shift in that one. Sixers team total over 106.5 at minus 125. The first two games, it was set at 111.5. And I think this is kind of a number Scotty's alluding to as being disrespectful. And, you know, maybe it is Vegas overanalyzing what happened in game two. Maybe they're on to something from what happened in game two. There's no way in hell I foresee the Sixers scoring under 107 points tonight. I really don't think it's happening, man. They were horrible from three last game. Are you predicting them to do so again?
Right.
Are you predicting Embiid to score in the low 20s again? Harden to score 8 again? Like, you have all these variables that, like, you just don't see happening 2 nights in a row against a Brooklyn team that isn't all that well defensively, right? Like, they gave up, 113, 114 defensively this year?
Yeah.
So, Sixers team total over 106.5. I would say that's probably our favorite bet. That's our best bet of the three. Yeah. And then you go down the line, our second bet, we think the Sixers are taking Brooklyn's third tonight. They're taking, their best punch, and the Sixers will win. They won't only win, but they will cover all 3 games to start the series. Sixers minus 4.5 at minus 110 on DraftKings. And lastly, the biggest standout through the first 2 games, Mr. Tobias Harris, over 14.5 points at plus 110 on DraftKings Sportsbook tonight. It was plus 120 before we put it on the slip, so it could be going down. But Tobias has eclipsed the 20-point mark in each of the first 2 games. Even if there is a shot total drop off, even if there's a production drop off, you could probably very well still see him grab 15 points tonight. Tobias over 14.5 at plus juice. Scotty.
I think, the Tobias one is interesting. Obviously, we're putting a little bit of faith into Tobias with that, right? And I think he's earned that over the first 2 games for us to go ahead and put that faith into him. The way I look at Tobias right now, he had 12 rebounds last game, right? So he's hitting the glass. He's getting second opportunities. And when you get those rebounds on the offensive end, those are easy buckets, man. He's getting easy layups from those opportunities that he's grabbing. So I really like Tobias to be able to score tonight and continue his play. We're not even asking him to get 20 plus again, right? We're just asking him to get his season average. And he's back in New York, man. But he's from New York. He's a New York, native. Why not play your best ball tonight in Brooklyn, man? So I like the Tobias over. The other 2 plays, those are what I'm talking about. It feels a little disrespectful. 5-point win, over 107 points. You're expecting us to play that bad as we did in game 2?
Again, that's the part that's like, man, all right, you got the Sixers' worst battle out of the way. They're going to go do that again?
Right.
Now, maybe they scored 96. Right, man. Maybe they scored 102 tonight. I just don't foresee it, man. Like, man, you have to go back. That game in which they scored 96. So, mind you, we only need 11 more points from that performance.
Yeah.
In that game, they scored, I believe, 18 or 19 points in the second quarter. They came out in the first 5 minutes and 55 seconds of the third quarter and scored 20 points, gave us life, and finished the third quarter with 24. So they scored 4 points in the last 6:05 of the third quarter. You wrap all that up. I don't think they went over 25 in a single quarter. They had 25 in the first. Maybe they went slightly over in the fourth.
28 in the fourth.
28 in the fourth, right? You're expecting something similar to that again? Under 32% as a team from three-point land?
I think it's crazy,
12 and B, 20, Harden 8, all those turnovers and missed opportunities. You're expecting something similar to that? I don't buy it, man. I do not see it tonight.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
Did you know that they had the Sixers threes for a team over under 11.5 at plus money, and they have Brooklyn's over under threes at 12.5 at minus money? The Brooklyn Nets are expected to make more threes. Now, I get it. It's probably more in their game plan when they're underdogs like this, but like, they just shot incredibly bad the other night too. Now they made that over, but the percentage was shit. So it's interesting, man. I'm not, I'm not complaining. Hey, if we can take advantage of a sports book tonight, we're getting a little lucky here. We're asking for a lot, but
that's the goal, man. That's the goal,
man. But Scotty, with that said,
yes,
throw me your prediction for tonight and throw me your player of the game for the 76ers.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to go simple in this one, man. And I'm going to go with Joel Embiid as my player of the game tonight. I think tonight is where we see kind of his coming out party as scoring champion in the postseason. I think he does get up over 30 points tonight. I think he imposes his will. And the reason that I feel that way, man, is because the Sixers are on the road. They need their best player. They need their MVP to kind of lead the way tonight. Hey, if Brooklyn wants to go throw double and triple teams at him again, that's fine. Then he'll just get his assists. He'll be patient tonight. He'll get the ball to the right people for the right shots. But I don't think that Brooklyn approaches him the same way tonight. I think they try something different. And in them trying that, it ultimately will cost them because Embiid is the MVP and scoring champion for the second season in a row now. And he is that for a reason. So I have Embiid going 30-plus points tonight. Continue that dominance on the boards, though. Don't let up there, even if you are scoring a little bit more. Continue that dominance. Had 19 rebounds last game. I'm just asking for 10-plus tonight. Hit the boards hard. 4+ assists. They're going to double him at some point in the game. You got to get the ball to the right people. 2 blocks. I only listed 2 blocks just to show he's engaged defensively. That's the main thing. He doesn't need to get the 2 blocks, but that's a sign that he would be engaged defensively. I have the Sixers winning this one, as you could see by the best bet slip there. I got the Sixers winning this one 115-99. I think they get that 107 mark. I think they get up over the 110 mark, get up over their season average, and hit the 115 mark. I think they hold Brooklyn under 100 points again. That's why I put that 99 specifically there. Might be lower than that in all reality. I just don't see how Brooklyn can score with the likes of Philadelphia. If they can hold the Sixers under points, if they can play good defense, if the Sixers are having a terrible shooting night, that's fine. I think when the score is under 100, that benefits Brooklyn. But I just don't see that happen. I don't see them being able to keep up with Philly scoring-wise, and I don't see them slowing Philly down. I don't see Philly having a horrible shooting night like that again tonight.
I think this is the night the Sixers, if they have not already from game 1, because there was some chatter after the way they took care of business in game 1. If they haven't already, I think this is the night the Sixers put people on notice. Yeah. Not for who they're playing, not anything like that, right? But for the pure fact that they are handling their business and not just coming away with a win, but beating the life out of this Brooklyn Nets team.
Dominating.
I think they do that. And you listed Joel Embiid tonight. And I think that's important for feeding off of mine because I'm going with his co-star and I'm going with James Harden. And I think that's important that we have those two in this specific game because when you are looking to take the soul from a team, when you are looking to take that 3-0 lead and the way that the others stepped up last game, it is important for your stars to not only tune up for Boston and everything like that. It is important for those two stars tonight to come out and lead by example with that focus, with that energy you and I spoke about for 35 minutes here. It starts with those two. How are you going to expect Paul Reed to have energy off the bench and George Niang and D'Anthony Melton to have energy when Joel Embiid or, James Harden are coming out and sluggish and turning the ball over in the first half and everything like that? You can't have it. I think Harden bounces back. I think Harden goes for 20 plus in front of his old crowd. I think, he probably has some distaste for Nets fans with, the way he, obviously he forced his way out of Brooklyn, but they thought Brooklyn actually won that trade and had some very crazy things to say about James Harden after that trade. So I think he puts on a show tonight with Joel, and I think they lead by example. They win. I think they win this game, obviously. Duh. They cover the 4.5. I think the Sixers are going to win by 8+, 9+. It would be great for another double-digit win, but, in the NBA, game to game, anything can happen. So am I going to say they're going to blow them out again? No, not on their home courts, and I'll give them some faith here. But yeah, man, I think the Sixers show up and show out tonight with another victory and take a 3-0 series lead. Guys, that is going to wrap up this DSM pregame live, Sixers Nets round 1, game 3 preview. As always, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, to check us out on Twitter first at DSM_media. Hit that follow button first. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And make sure you check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform. We are available on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. But if you guys want to be interactive throughout any of our shows here, if you guys want to catch each and every one of our DSM pregame lives, this is the exclusive home for it on the YouTube channel. Turn on notifications, hit that subscribe button, and it's the best spot, as I said, to get your comments and questions pulled up and be interactive with our host. Have a great rest of your night, and go Sixers.
Go Sixers.